Gegaandet allemaal, welkom terug naar de werf. Vandaag kijk ons naar de Rooikat, which roughly translates to welcome everybody back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at the Red-Cat 105, aka the Rooikat 105. This vehicle is situated in the British tech tree and is a premium, sitting at a battle rating of 8.7. In this video I'll be covering the light tank's loadouts, performance, maneuverability, armor and defenses, and its modifications, as well as the conclusion at the end of the video, so please stick around for that. First of all, let's talk about the light tank's loadouts. And the first ammo type that this thing has access to is the DM33 APF SDS round. This round is arguably the best round that the Rooikat 105 has access to, as on a flat surface at 10 meters it does 408mm of penetration, on 30 degree armor at 10 meters it does 344mm of pen, and on flat armor at 10 meters at 60 degrees it does 236mm of penetration. This is the same round that the 2A5, 2A6 and 2PL have access to, so for what this is at 8.7, this is a very good round. The next ammo type that this thing has access to is the DM502 round. The haha funny high explosive squash head round does exactly 127mm of penetration regardless of angle and regardless of distance. Now onto the not so funny high explosive round, and this is the DM12 HEFS high explosive anti-tank fin stabilized shell. This shell comes stock with most top tier tanks. It's not that useful, although it does do 400mm of penetration. On most angles it will just either bounce off, explode and not go through, or do absolutely no damage. The third ammo type that the Rooikat has access to is the DM23 APF SDS shell. This shell does at 10 meters on 0 degree armor 337mm of penetration, at 10 meters on 30 it does 284mm, and at 10 meters at 60 degrees it does 195mm. I do not recommend using this shell at all. There's absolutely no reason. The DM33 round is superior in basically every way. Now moving on to the performance, maneuverability, armor and defenses of the Rooikat, and as you can see on the stat card, this thing comes fitted with a 100mm GT-7 cannon with an ammo stowage of 32 rounds and a reload rate of 7.7 seconds, which isn't all too good and can lead to some pretty annoying moments because you get killed in between reload times, but at 8.7, 7.7 with the 400mm round, it's not too bad. The Rooikat also comes fitted with a 7.62mm Browning machine gun. This has almost no use as it is turret mounted, so you can't look up and shoot something like helicopters. It will be looking where you are facing with the cannon. Again, it comes fitted with it, so it has to have it, but it has no real use in an actual battle. Also comes fitted with 8 76mm smoke grenade launchers, always useful for getting yourself out of trouble. The Rooikat's speed and acceleration are exceptionally good, but only on tarmac or general roads. If you're going off-road in any wheeled vehicle in War Thunder, it's going to act like it's on the bloody moon and it's going to travel at about 3 miles an hour. Unfortunately, this vehicle only hits around the odd 20s, so between 20 and 24 on off-terrain, which is about the same speed as most MBTs at its tier. Although on flat ground it can reach up to 75 miles per hour, which is absolutely ludicrous for a tank. This thing can just completely zip around corners, outmaneuver tanks and whiz all the way around them. Now I'm going to talk about the turret rotation speed and elevation. This turret rotates at 34 degrees per second. Not terrifically fast, but not horrendously slow either. It also has a vertical guidance of negative 10 degrees of depression, which means it can look 10 degrees down. Again, not great, but it is a wheeled vehicle, so there's not really much you can expect from that. It also has 20 degrees of vertical elevation. The only problem that I have with the Rooikat's vertical elevation is that it's extraordinarily slow, and this can lead to some situations where you need to point your gun up towards an enemy and it's just too slow and you will die in the meantime. Now I'm going to talk about the Rooikat's ammo positioning, crew positioning and its armor. And as you can see here, the Rooikat has 4 crew members, the driver in the front, the gunner and commander sat next to each other in the top of the turret, and the loader sat directly next to them also in the turret, meaning any centre of mass shot will result in your tank being knocked out, as all of your crew members are compact into one small area. There are 2 first stage ammo stowages on the Rooikat, one situated next to the crew and the hull, and the other one all the way at the back of the turret. Extra rounds can also be stored on the left and right furthest side of the hulls. These carry 8 ammo in each side, but I recommend just taking 16 rounds to fill up the area next to your crew and the back of the tank. Here you can see the armor overlay of the Rooikat, and this thing has literally next to no armor. It has a total of 30mm hull armor as its hardest point around the base of the tank, and around the turret of the tank it has 25 to 15mm of angled armor. Around the base or hull of the tank, 50 calibers can actually penetrate you and cause a minor amount of damage to your crew and machinery. Whereas on the turret, 50 caliber rounds as it's sloped cannot actually penetrate you, and your crew are relatively safe from 50 caliber fire. The only real threat that the Rooikat will face is any tank with an auto loader or auto cannon, as they will just absolutely obliterate you before you're able to fight back. As I did mention before, this is a premium vehicle, and on screen you can see its research modifiers: 678% for RP and 345% for Silver Lions. These aren't terrible, it's about average for an 8.7 to 9.7 premium. Nothing I can really say here. It is a relatively effective grinder, but as you can see with the conclusion, I don't recommend just having it on its own. Now onto the upgrades that the Rooikat has. And to start with, we see that this vehicle has access to ESS, which is an engine smoke. The only problem with this smoke is that thermal vision can see directly through it, so not all that useful at 8.7. Possibly in a down tier, some vehicles don't actually have access to thermal vision, and even at 8.7 some vehicles don't have access to thermal vision. And the next upgrade this thing has access to is the airstrike modification. As I stated in my last video, if you've watched that, the 2S38, the airstrike modification allows you, if you have spotted an enemy and that enemy is destroyed, it reduces the amount of spawn points needed to spawn in one of your air vehicles by 7%. This also can be stacked if you have another vehicle in your lineup with the same modification. So if you had scouted a target and they died, you would have to spend 14% less spawn points on the vehicle that you wanted to spawn in. The next modification that the Rooikat gets access to is the improved optics, which allows you to scout vehicles, which grants you silver lines if they are attacked or destroyed. And it also gives away the location on the map and in your general view. It also has a laser rangefinder and access to a drone, which you can keybind to any key that you want to, or if you're on Xbox. I don't know how you have so many keybinds on a controller, but good luck. This allows you to deploy a drone, which you can then use personally for scouting. The Rooikat also does get access to some very mediocre Generation 1 thermals. I can't really complain at 8.7, thermals are kind of useful. So Generation 1s, they're not good clarity, but they are still relatively useful. And that's the overview of the tank out of the way. I'm going to give the conclusion now. And despite what I've said about the Rooikat being a speedy fucker with a good round, I don't recommend buying this unless you're already at 9.7 or 8.7 and you have other vehicles in your lineup at around about the same level. Because if you try and play this thing on your own, you're going to get one shot by a lot of things and you're going to get burnt out and frustrated very, very fast. It is a relatively effective grinder, but the British tree is extraordinarily big, and there is also a 9.7 Challenger Mark III, which I'm going to do a review on soon, which is better at the same price. So I would probably recommend getting that over this anyway. But both of them together, which is what I run, a very good lineup indeed. You do rip through the tree quite fast. Anyways, that's enough from me. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and if you can share with a friend, that would be bloody incredible. But that's it, and thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.